Welcome everyone, Questine here with a discussion about Skrag the Slaughterer in Total War Warhammer 3 and his ridiculously overpowered capability in combat. In fact, he might just be the strongest Legendary Lord in the game, on his own, if we're not talking about faction effects and we're just talking about a Lord on their own minus those kind of faction effects. Certainly faction effects do play a role in Skrag's power, but consider Gelt. All of Gelt's power is not coming from his Lord effects, it's coming from the faction effects. Whereas with Skrag, it's the exact opposite. So he might just be one of the strongest Lords in the game, and he probably is the strongest Mage in the freaking game. Yes, even stronger than Gelt. And to prove that, I have a campaign here, it's turn 34. My original intent with this campaign was, okay, just using Toggle Fogger to show you, I triggered the Dwarf endgame crisis quite early in this campaign. My intent was, okay, I'm going to play this campaign normally, get a bunch of heroes for the army, and then have a big showdown at Zarnagrud. And then Greasus and Grimgor obliterated the endgame crisis. That wasn't supposed to happen. So instead, I decided to teleport a bunch of armies right here. So Archeon, Durfu, Malachi, Catherine's armies, and then it's like, nah, this is not good enough. So we got Skulltaker, Malice Darkblade, Warzag, and a fan favorite in Vashnar, who, by the way, I did not spawn. I just found him right about here, basically, just pestering Grumbrindle, who I wanted to see if I could bring him, but then I realized, yeah, I'm just gonna walk all over his army. So here we go. 4 very powerful Legendary Lords. Yes, Skulltaker is in Force March stance, but he still has Flaming attacks and Magical attacks, which are gonna hurt me in this situation. I don't think there is a way for me to switch out the Force March stance with console commands. I did try and find different commands. Anyway, so let's attack Skulltaker. It says Valiant Defeat. Granted, I am using auto-resolve mods, but geez, this situation. Oh. Okay, so I had to swap a couple of musical chairs to get this going, but what we're going to do here, and I really think this is the best way to use this army, is deploy all your heroes in a big, massive blob, right? Like, just simple as this, maybe even more. Right, so big, massive blob on one side of the battlefield. So that would be one group. Make sure they're in the open. As for your lead belchers and gorgers, preferably hide them on some section of the battlefield. But yeah, let the enemy deploy first. So we're gonna wait for those reinforcements to arrive, and we're gonna give them some time to deploy. Now, in a real battle, you wouldn't want to do this, because you would actually want to benefit as much as possible from, you know, the time. Okay. I turned the lead belchers off because I'm worried about, like, that is a massive freaking line of enemy troops right there. Like, it's not that they're scouting for me, it's literally their line is so massive that... Okay, so what we want is we're going to charge right in the middle of all of this. Hey, I'm not gonna give them every advantage in the world. And we begin. We are going to kill the Skulltaker. Now I'm gonna wait a bit. So wait until everything is tar pitted against you. Be careful a bit with some of these abilities because you can run out of Winds of Magic. Okay, you can't run out of Winds of Magic, but you can end up in a situation. Speaking about fire, by the way. Now, bruisers have a nice little ability that gives you melee defense, and they get sundered armor. Don't think it stacks, but hey, let's go for it, why not? Kill the Skull Taker. Ah, the big high pop. And there we go, one more onto the breach. Alright, once everything is deployed, we haven't even summoned a Gorger, so let's get to that. That was, by the way, deliberate on my part, like I didn't want to waste them. Because you want the enemy to blob up like this. And now, gents, it's time for those reinforcements to show up. Let's reduce his leadership for a bit. He's a tricky bastard. I'll give him that much. But don't worry. Now the nice thing about these Gorgers... Oh. They won't break, ever. So you can... There's one enemy lord, destroyed. That's the Corn army, destroyed. Let's do some milling over here. Kill this guy. The power of magic. Maybe I waited too long with those lead belchers. Maybe. We can summon another one. to help our lead belchers.
Child of the volcano. Volcano's mine. When supper, eat man chum, the more calls. Off we go. Okay, they butcher. Slaughter the more. Charging our forward. Boss says so. This way. Give me the word. Boss says I do. Call of the more. Master of the moon.
Alright, let's route him.
Skrag the Slaughterer. I'm chief round here. Oh, you know me. Hungry. Lead belchers! Killing time! In my gut!
Okay.
Feed the more! Skrag the Slaughterer!
Damn those black dragons, what can I say?
I bring my pot! Come at me! Butcher! Voice of the Lord! Prepare the meat! This way! Prepare the meat! I'll go! I will! I warn! All shall burn! Serving Skrag! Ogre Butcher! Follow the blood! They're dead! Thunder in full! Munch 'em! This'll show 'em! Servant of the More! Fire belly! Immolation! Incineration!
He's dead. And there we go. There we have our victory. A bit more expensive than most battles. Actually, very expensive as a battle compared to every other battle I fought with this army. But now we just get to heal. So against Vashanar, Skulltaker, Malice Darkblade, and Wurzag at once, we got 41 casualties. Well, we did lose Quillen with half the army, but still a bit of irrelevancy. No healing, unfortunately. That's one of the problems of this army, is like you don't get any kind of like casualty replenishment post battle, because like, yeah, your characters will heal pretty quickly anyway. And just bear in mind that Demons of Khorne and Malice Darkblade, as well as Vashnar's freaking Chosen, are obviously quite capable enough to really make this situation horrible. You will not encounter any army in the game that comes even remotely close to what I just faced over here. And I wiped the floor with them, suffice to say. It was a bit tricky. Touch and go, could have lost some characters, but like literally in this camp, this is the kind of campaign battle. Like, look at how few of them actually got away. And this, bear in mind, this is legendary very hard with max AI stats, right? So base weapon damage, but really the crucial aspect is leadership. Okay, that aside, what the hell is going on? Why aren't my guys dying? Is the ward save? No, it's actually not ward save at all. Now, I could have gone against dwarf army, but range units wouldn't have done anything. Because of behavior of range units and the way AI uses range units, they wouldn't have shot in these ogres. Like, a big blob of units is a protection of itself. That's one of the reasons why some of these characters were taking a lot of damage when they were out of the blob. So, keep to the blob, right? So, here's the insane part with Skrag. Almost nothing that you saw in that battle, and certainly not the victory itself, came from faction effects. So it's not faction effects, it's not the Prophet of Nile. I'll talk about those, but it's really down to him as a lord, and he's insane. So he gets offered to the Great Maw cost minus 50%, devastating flanker for Gorger units, upkeep, Gorger onslaught. Okay, that's not necessarily very substantial except the devastating flanker, but his item, the Cauldron of the Great Maw, has this following effect: base weapon damage, armor-piercing weapon damage, heal, and affected the allies in range if a unit is a Gorger. So for Gorger, he's giving them heal, he's giving them weapon damage, he's giving them armor-piercing damage. That's the first heal in battle that Skrag has. He has 5 more. Yes, 5. You may not have the highest battle healing cap, and just so we're clear, like, we defeated Gorbad, we defeated, who did we? Skarbrand, that's reasonable. Malagor, yeah, I defy Malagor. Who else did I freaking... Like, Malice, yeah, okay. Warzag, no. Tretch Craventel, yeah, makes perfect sense. Quick Cat Taker, yeah, we've been going around. So, there's no... Like, I don't have any crazy traits. Like, everything you see here in terms of traits would be reasonably gained. And, yeah, I literally just got 2 of these because... Or 3 of these because I just defeated Malice, Darkblade, and Malice, Darkblade, Skull Taker, and of course, where is Skull Taker straight? Actually, Malagor, Skull, Tretch. There we go. Physical resistance, yeah. So weapon damage. So you can get 20 physical resistance if you defeat Skull Taker. Yeah, good luck with that, by the way. Good luck with either of those, really, considering how distant they are. Anyway, so here's what you need to know that makes him crazy in terms of his skill line and his lord effects and his magical skill line. So he gets Bestial Butcher, he gets melee attack, melee defense, and terror for Gorgers. He gets Sundering attacks, weapon strength. Sundering attacks being very important because it's reducing armor. So if you're dealing with trying to kill enemy lords, like Brag the Butcher is actually important for this. Like, one of the reasons that I recommend Brag the Butcher, because ogres actually do have a problem killing other characters, especially, you know, something like Malice Darkblade. He is so important, and so is the Ishan Maneater, by the way. Like, the Ishan Maneater and Brag, like, without those, I probably wouldn't have won the battle. Because good luck killing Malice Darkblade and Skull Taker otherwise, because they're freaking crazy. But very importantly, you get Prophet of Grey Maw, so spell intensity, cooldown to spells, wins a magic power reserve capacity, and then 2 feet Noblars, which all Slaughter Masters have. And all butchers have as well. So all this stuff like wins a magic cost, Mescat chance, and power reserve capacity, it's not just Skrag, it's every butcher. But the important thing, he has Grey Maw Devour. So the Grey Maw Devours lowers the cost of the Maw by quite a bit. So it's kind of like the same thing that Astragoth has with the... Drazov has with the Flames of Asgore. Then he has all these skills that the Slaughter Master would have to pick. So you have Tolerance to Toxins, Renowned Feastmaster, and Walking Larder. So if you look at one of these, like, yeah, you get poison attack, ward save, or regeneration. You have regeneration, and ward save. So you have one way of doing healing right there as an item. You got the second regeneration as a skill. Then you get the third, and we're not done. Then you get then you get a third through Blood Gruel. This is why you want the Lore of the Grey Maw, because every time you cast a spell, this is going to replenish your HP. Any spell. You may not necessarily need this, though, because every single one of these Butchers also has regeneration. Every single one of these Bruisers also has regeneration, but I'll talk about that in just a second. But then you have important things. So you get Brain Gobbler, which reduces leadership. You have Tooth Cracker, which increases armor and missile resistance. So you might think, oh, we can counter this with range. Good luck with that. 22% physical missile resistance and 30 armor. You have Bone Crusher, damage spell, bonus versus infantry. You got Troll Guts. So Troll Guts is one of the heals. Then you have the Maw, and you have extra ingredients. All Ogre Mages, regardless of School of Magic, have Meat Cleaver and extra ingredients. But only Lore of the Grey Maw gives you Blood Gruel. So here's the idea. You have infinite healing. Well, technically, battle healing cap. But you have infinite capability of healing for Blood Gruel, regeneration, and Troll Guts. You have infinite Winds of Magic because of extra ingredients. But there's more. So you have 1, 2... 3 heals over here, 4 with the Cauldron for, Gorgers, a 5th through one of the big names, which gives you Troll Guts as bound spell, only useful once, but win a battle against army of trolls. Basically, the game is telling you go fight Gorbat. This gives you cooldown minus 10% to all spells as well. Then use the Maw, spell intensity, Winds of Magic cost minus 10%. I don't believe any Butcher or Slaughter Master can get that, so I think that is related to just Skrag himself, so that's probably just unique. Like, there are some other effects, I think they're randomized to some extent, but yeah, I don't think you can gain that. Okay, so then you have snacks. So heal per second. If you have 4 offerings to the Grey Maw, activate once. You only need to activate them once, by the way. Incoming healing modifier plus 10% and snacks. So yeah, Winds of Magic cost, spell intensity, snacks. That is freaking bananas. It means you have 6 healing methods. You get a lot of spells as well. You have, again, infinite healing, infinite Winds of Magic. The only problem is the battle healing cap. In the vast majority of battles in the campaign, not against something like that, you may struggle with single entities because you don't necessarily have the Lore of Magic for that, though there's ways to counter those. But against the vast majority of armies, even endgame crisis armies, this will obliterate them. Like, the Maw spell does a lot of freaking damage to clumps of units, blob them up, obliterate them. And against regular armies, you would not have 120 units on the field at once. Like, that is... Like, I don't think I've ever seen it. Like, if it's just a single faction, it will never happen. A single faction can only have 40 units at once. So the fact that I had 4 different armies meant that they could all fight at once. The AI is kind of derpy in that respect. That is crazy. And all of these things are Lord effects, magical school effects. Every ogre can get these, but Skrag is just flat out better because he gets more magic than others. And he has that Winds of Magic cost reduction. And he summons Gorgers in battles, let alone the Gorger benefit he also has in battles. But then there's further insanity. Skrag can make this hero stacking work better than other ogres because of where he starts. So he starts in Eastern Border Princes. The Eastern Border Princes has the Mountain Ranch. This gives you a bunch of growth, meat, and also gives you the ability of recruiting butchers. At tier 3, increases butcher capacity. And you can build this on top of the meat store. So the meat store at tier 3 gives you hero butcher capacity. So over here, I'm gaining free butcher capacity. And I'm also gaining 10% mass from his starting province. You also have salts. Now, salt's important because it disables meat upkeep, be it region, province, or adjacent province. It depends on the tier we're talking about. On top of that, we also have furs, which give you missile resistance, and iron, which gives you armor to all units. Basically, the game is go out, shut the fuck up, and go kill Gorbat. That is what the game is telling. It's like, because you gain so many benefits. Forget the border princes. Defeat them over here in Akendorf. Take Akendorf, then make a peace agreement until basically, you realize, okay, I have an army to spare. Let me just go kill them. That's more or less the campaign plan for Skrag. So all that I showed you is what you can get with him as a lord. And I want you guys to understand something. I don't have Armors of Destiny on these characters. I have some Talisman of Preservation, including like on Bragg. But the armor is, you know, I have some weapons, I have some armor, but a lot of these guys that you just saw go up against 4 full freaking stacks, the strongest armies I could find in a campaign right now, were only wearing like 1 weapon, 1 item, if even freaking that. These are not heroes wearing Armors of Destiny, suffice to say. And most of these items, like I wanted to make sure each of these guys at least had some missile resistance, then I kind of realized it's pointless. Oh, sure, now I got some more Talismans of Preservation, but yeah, I really hate the item management in the game. I wish it could be better, just genuinely so. So, these guys were not quite naked, but they were also full stacked over here. Because they're sealing so much, and by the time they and because you can summon Gorgers in battle, like, you could genuinely, like, someone put it on Reddit the best, like, yes, I checked Reddit, like, I was inspired by Reddit, someone put, like, just get freaking Noblars. Surround these guys with Noblars, or surround Skrag with Noblars, and you can beat any army in the game. They're not wrong. A bunch of Noblars with a couple of heroes, the thing is the Noblars would inevitably die, but the heroes would get the job done. Now, Butchers, obviously they have the same regeneration, they have Toothy Noblar, they have Dinner Bell, which decreases cooldown. Okay, that's all well and good. And yeah, they have these various skills, spell resistance, physical resistance, all that. But what about Bruisers? I don't need to talk about Bragg, right? He's a hero killer or Dash and Man-Eater. But here's the thing. Bruisers also work great for a couple of reasons. One, obviously they're much more durable than Butchers. So you want the Butchers for the magic and Winds of Magic generation. But then you have the Bruisers. They have Puncture, which reduces armor and gives melee attack. You have Immovable Bulk, so mass, melee defense, physical resistance. You have Stand and Die for melee defense and leadership. One of the things that really helped me a lot is those Butchers, those Bruisers constantly casting Stand and Die. In fact, there is an argument to be made that just making a lot of Bruisers and putting them together in an army with Skrag would be the best way. They would protect him by surrounding him, literally, and each of them gives you 5% ward save. So you could make an entire Bruiser stack. But I think a combination of Bruisers and Butchers is better because a couple of Maw spells on an army trying to tar pit you will obliterate the vast majority of armies in the game. There's only a handful of very high-end units. The only reason... And actually, Vashnor was one of the big problems because his Dragons and Chosen were very, very durable. Those are, like, units... like those are endgame units. If it takes endgame units to stop an army of naked heroes or slow it down... Now, granted, they're all very high level, but they're not maxed out either. And they're certainly not maxed out in terms of their items. And the Bruisers also have the snack skill. So they're also healing in combat. In fact, unlike, this is better than Butchers because Butchers have to choose it, whereas Bruisers always gain it. So you have a ton of freaking healing. Then you also have a bunch of benefits over here with, you know, Disemboweled, Foreboding Executioner, right? All those kind of benefits. And yeah, snacks for this. I didn't even have snacks because I've been busy, you know, getting other skills for him. And again, nothing I just mentioned is faction effects. So is Skrag the best mage in the game? Well, infinite Winds of Magic and infinite healing? Yeah, I'd say he's much better than Gelt or Teclis. On an individual level, Gelt's faction would beat the crap out of Skrag any freaking day, but let me just say that it is a frightening prospect to deal with Skrag in a campaign, and now you know why. The AI is very inefficient at using this, but God forbid if you want to fight Skrag, God forbid if you let him build up, because you will be dealing with this. Actually, you'll be dealing with worse. Because then you have the profit of the mod. You only need 3 armies, or really 10 offerings. Each army gives 4. You have a lot of meat. You get 50% meat from battles. Winds of Magic cost minus 25%. Boiled Cauldron, 1 use effect. Not great in a big blobby fight like that, but really good in a 1v1 situation or 2v1 situation. Then you have the Gorger Onslaught. You know, the same Gorgers that have Devastating Flanker and do a truckload of damage and regenerate HP. You can summon up to 4 of these permanently. By default, it is a summon that, you know, diminishes, so it's like they'll despawn. But the upgrade over here, his faction effect makes it stronger. But frankly, even if you're playing Goldfag or Greasus and you confederate his Skrag, he would still be your best fighter. I am not exaggerating. Like, if you're playing Greasus or Goldfang, yes, he might not have the Gorger benefits, to be sure. But put an army under Skrag versus any other Ogre army that you can put in the game. His healing, his magical capability, the sheer buffs he can give an entire army of Ogres is insane. He is, obviously a Slaughter Master can do those things as well. But the part about Skrag being insane is that he has much cheaper spells, much better spells. Well, not necessarily much better spells, but powerful spells. Cheaper spells. He is the Drazif of the Ogres, and he is stronger than Drazif. Because Drazif, yeah, he has barrier. He doesn't have regeneration. Skrag has regeneration, and he gets ward saves from the Bruisers. Put 19 Bruisers in a Skrag army. I don't think anything can beat it in the game. Yeah, like, I would like to know how you would counter this. I can tell you one thing. Ranged armies would not do it. Flaming attack melee units might do it. That's the only thing. Like, one of the things I wanted to do in this particular campaign was have the Cast Dwarf Endgame Crisis to fight that, but then Grimgor and Greasus ruined my day with regards to that, so never underestimate the power of Grimgor and Greasus to ruin your campaign, even when you least expect it. Like, just a bit of information here. I was allied with both Grimgor and with Grimgor. Now with Greasus, I wanted to confederate Greasus, so I didn't ally him. But I gained the confederation from distance with an Ogre faction here at the Mountain Eaters, I believe. Got a bunch of territory, sold that to Grimgor and Greasus, got an alliance with Grimgor, and also managed to get... Grimgor was already at war with Zarnagrim, because that is his tendency, but then Greasus is like, he wasn't, so I was like, okay, let me weaken Greasus a bit, right, so I can get him where I want him to. So I provoked, so I engineered that war, and then Greasus took all Zarnagrim together with Grimgor. The hell? What? That wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Well, things do go in unexpected fashions. Costin, here signing out.